Well, the U.S. Army released a strongly worded statement Thursday accusing the Trump presidential campaign of ignoring the rules at Arlington National Cemetery. The Army says one of its employees was abruptly pushed aside by Trump's team after asking them to abide by federal laws which ban political activities inside military cemeteries. The Republican presidential candidate went to Arlington Monday to pay tribute to the 13 U.S. troops who died at Kabul's airport Abbey Gate 3 years ago. Trump is defending his visit to Arlington and denied using the photos for politics, saying the one thing I get is plenty of publicity. I don't need that. And he says the family asked him to take photos at the gravesite. Former President Trump was back on the campaign trail Thursday with stops in Midwest battleground states of Michigan and Wisconsin. These are his first campaign events this week. And Trump's first stop was in Porterville, Michigan, where he talked about the economy.
I'm here today with a simple message for the American auto worker and for the American worker. Your long economic nightmare will very soon be over. It's going to be over. Going to turn it around. With your vote, we will defeat Comrade Kamala Harris. And we will bring back the American dream, bigger, better, stronger, and just better.
Well, Trump and his team will surely be paying attention to our colleague Dana Barsha's interview with Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate Tim Walz. It's their first extended interview since Harris clinched the Democratic presidential nomination. And it will air in its entirety in just a few hours at 9 p.m. Eastern Time in the U.S. That's 9 a.m. in Hong Kong. Republican strategist Rina Shah joins me now for more on all of this. No doubt, Rina, Trump's team will be watching that interview closely ahead of their expected debate, if it should happen September 10th on the ABC. What will they be watching for?
Well, in particular, in this sit down with Harris and Walz, I think millions of Americans will be looking to hear the vice president in her own words, how she plans to be different than her current boss, President Biden. There will be a range of topics, no doubt, being discussed from Gaza all the way to fracking and Medicare for all. In particular, Medicare for all, the single payer system, as well as the issue of fracking for oil. Those are two topics that were central to her 2020 bid for the White House, in which she was unfortunately unsuccessful and quite at the bottom of the pack in that Democratic primary. But of course, in that primary, Biden went on to name her as the running mate. And many people are now saying that what we know now about this vice president is that this is a different candidate. This is a reintroduction she has to do of herself and show that the American public can trust her to keep her word on these differing stances in particular.
And of course, recently, Donald Trump questioned her race. She was asked about that in the interview. In a sneak peek, we've already heard. But we also saw Trump today reposting a sexual remark that is really too vulgar to show on CNN about Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton. Why would Trump amplify that ugliness?
Well, Trump amplifies a lot of ugliness and has since 2016. So this is no different than Trump being Trump. And unfortunately, it is a very difficult moment as I'm raising young daughters, and I myself have worked for years to get more women into American elected and political life at various levels, whether they be political appointments or, again, running for office at every level. I should note Kamala Harris is unique in one particular way. She has been elected at all levels of U.S. government, local, state, and federal. And so to see a woman of her stature, somebody who's worked to get where she is, and whether you like her or not, those are just the facts. It is tough to see that she is still being criticized by the former President Trump. You know, this is a disgusting and unfortunate thing that many women in public life have to endure. But the fact that Trump continues to levy such ridiculous allegations against her, some of which I'm embarrassed to even repeat. It is the kind of thing that we as American women know we have to fight against. But so many of Trump's supporters, as they have from 2016, continue to say this is locker room talk, this is boys being boys. And so in essence, I do see Harris and her team continuing to just move past these personal and character attacks and try to speak to the issues of the day and try to talk to winning this race.
And of course, Rena, the US Army is criticizing Donald Trump and his team for going to Arlington Cemetery and taking photos at an area that is banned under federal law from campaign events. But instead of apologizing, Donald Trump is doubling down. Why?
Well, Trump loves loyalty and his team is being loyal to him. They know that he loves to get pictorial evidence of whatever he does to show that he's doing something for the American public. And in many cases, he is crafting political stunts, much like any political candidate does. But he goes a step further, almost to highlight something that isn't really there. What he did at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, though he was requested by certain families to be there, I think was an affront and a slap to the face of the many military families who've lost somebody in action, and frankly anybody whose family has put on the brave uniform of our nation. So I don't know how this is much different than previous things he's done to attack military families, and there's a long list of them. All I know is that his team is this time personally liable, it seems, for a physical altercation with somebody that is official U.S. government staff and was just carrying out the duties of her job. I think it should be highlighted that this is kind of mob boss mafioso behavior, and Trump seems to be okay with it by doubling down and defending his team as having done nothing wrong, even though they were breaking the rules that are on the books.
Mm. All right, Rena Shah, good to have you with us. Thanks so much. We will all be watching that interview later today with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, less than 3 hours from now on CNN. Thank you.
Thank you.